He spoke about this yesterday, and when we did a quick little synopsis after the game ended, I really didn't feel like talking that much after the game. Went out, had a great date night, Cafe Bella Vita in Staten Island. Tremendous, wonderful. Oh, the beef short ribs were out of this world. But we have some time now to reflect. And also, it's the 24-hour rule. The old Bill Graff, Bob Johnson rule from Mid-Island Little League. Take 24 hours to think about it. It's the 24-hour rule. And I've had time to think about it. Um, and this is one of the longest droughts that we've had, the Yankees, in terms of not winning a World Series. The previous record was, I think, 17. It's been 16 years since we've won a championship. Yeah. Oh 09, 19. Yeah. Yeah. 16 years. Um, which if you're the Yankees is disgusting. Again, I know. I mean, hell, what you're seeing with the NFL with the Dallas Cowboys, I can only imagine how those fans feel, thinking that because they had a couple of good years in the '90s, that all of a sudden they should be winning every year. I mean, they've done no, they haven't even gotten to a Super Bowl in 30 plus years. The Yankees at least got to the World Series last year, but they haven't won it. They've only been to one world after their World Series win in '09. They've only been to one World Series. They've been to a couple of LCSs, and it's frustrating. And I see the reaction on social media. Boone's got to go. Fire Boone. And you know that I'm not the biggest Aaron Boone fan. I'm not. I'm not somebody that's gonna sit here and tell you that I like Aaron Boone managing. Um, I think he fires the team up at times. I think he's someone that pretty much has the back of his players most times, but at the same time, you have to be able to, run a good product out there and run a good product that's fundamentally good. And yes, if you fire Boone, you're still going to have Cashman and you're going to have the same puppet show. It's just going to be a different puppet. And Alex Rodriguez said it best last night on the post game show on Fox that listen, this was a poorly constructed roster, and it was. It was. And the funny thing is, now I will say this: it was a poorly constructed roster. They had injuries to some of their better players, and they still won 94 games. That's got to count for something. I know the American League is bad, but hell, if this, I mean, if we're gonna sit here and say this roster is as bad and poorly constructed as we're saying it is, and then you lose Cole, you lose Schmidt, you lose some big pieces. Williams had about a 9 ERA for the first 2 months of the year. Granted, he wasn't great, but he got a lot better than what he was. But considering where he was, hell, 94 wins and being right there with Toronto, it's not a bad year. But it's great and all. We haven't had a losing record since 1993, and we've made the playoffs every year since '95. That's cool. That's great. It shows that we're a consistent franchise. I like that. I'm not gonna sit there and say that it means nothing to me. It does. It does. I'm damn proud that my team has not had a losing record since 1993. So I'm very, very happy with that. And then we've made the playoffs for a very long time. I think since '95 we've missed the playoffs what, three times? So again, I like that. It's a consistent formula. However, let's let's not beat around the bush. Who are we fooling here? We're Yankee fans. We want championships. We want to be the last team celebrating in October. Hell, we want to at least be celebrating an American League pennant. We want to be celebrating something. And as beautiful as it was to knock out the Red Sox this year in the wild card series, it just doesn't do it for me. It doesn't do it for me. But yeah, you'll have the same puppet show under Boone. However, and it's mostly Cashman. You can really put the blame on this mostly on Cashman. But there are major fundamental issues with this team. They can't field when they have to. They can't hit the right way when they have to. They can't pitch when they have to. But it's more, but to me, what gets me is the defense. And they've been getting consistently worse on defense the last couple of years. That's on coaching. Brian Cashman may be sitting there and telling little puppet Aaron Boone what lineup to put out. But down in the field, the coaches are coaching. And the fact that this Yankee team doesn't have pretty much basic fundamentals, that's on coaching. That's a coaching issue. That's an Aaron Boone issue. And I think that just to sit here and say that automatically Boone should come back next year in 26, why? Granted, he's got 2 more years. He's getting paid until 27. Yeah, through 27. Is Prince Hal going to sit there and pay two managers? Probably not. But hell, at least entertain us. At least indulge us. You have to at least sit here. If you don't sit here and at least evaluate the coaching staff, then you're doing your fan base a disservice and you're doing a team a disservice. Because when this team can't sit there and turn a routine double play, that's not on that's not on the general manager. That's on the manager. That's on the coaching staff. And last year was another year that we again played horribly defensively, but also running the bases. See, to me, that again, that's a big issue for me also, coaching wise. When you can't fundamentally play defense and you can't also fundamentally run the bases at the major league level, that's on a coach. And some of the pinch hit moves, not pinch hitting someone. Hell, McMahon, I thought had a decent game. He had the home run last night. Why is McMahon being pinch hit for? Why isn't Volpe being pinch hit for? Now, you could sit there and make the case that is Cashman really digging at his heels to the point where he's saying don't even bench the guy. Don't even pinch hit for him. I could see the general manager. Okay, the general manager sits there and gives Puppet Boone the lineup. And we all know that that's what's going on. But does it stop there? Or is Cashman pretty much calling the shots and Boone is just sitting there in the dugout on the top step looking like a fool? It's never going to change. And again, like I said, I think we struck gold in '09. Definitely struck gold in '09 with Sabathia and Burnett and A-Rod came together with a great year and Teixeira and we had all literally everything that we had that could come together came together for the Yankees in 2009. And since then it's been pretty much nothing. And that falls on Brian Cashman. What are some positives that we can take out of this? Well, they produced some good young talent. You like what you saw from Ben Rice. Schlittler, absolutely, you love what you saw. I mean, Dominguez showed some promise, but I from what I saw and the way Dominguez was used, doesn't seem to me like he's a kid that has a future here. When you believe in a kid, you believe in a kid. And this Yankee staff did not seem like they believed in Jason Dominguez at all. Some moves at the trade deadline. Bednar, you like him. Doval, like him. Cruz. Caballero, I think is a nice little piece. So again, you could look at that as some positives for the Yankees, but there are a whole lot of negatives. And there are a whole lot of negatives also with, like I said, what happened at shortstop. Anthony Volpe was somebody that I think universally every Yankee fan could not stomach watching Anthony Volpe in the field and couldn't watch him be at the plate. And I'm sorry, but your starting shortstop has to go better than 1 for 15 in the American League Division Series with 11 strikeouts. He's got to do better than that. And if you don't have a shortstop that can produce, I'm not saying that he has to be Jeter or Lindor. I'm not saying yet, but I mean, for the love of God, hit me at least 265, 270 in the regular season, and you got to at least perform a little bit in the playoffs, a little bit. I mean, this guy was staying over 200 most of the year. So he's someone, again, we sit here and I say, you have to evaluate the coaching staff. Shortstop has to be evaluated. You can't just sit there and go, Volpe's our shortstop for 26. You'll have a mutiny on your hands with the fans. Unless they don't care. I know Prince Hal is all about the almighty dollar. As long as the chicken tender baskets keep being sold, it's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine in Yankee land. Luke Weaver's another one. He looked downright putrid. He looked pitiful. He looked a shell of his former self. He looked like someone who shouldn't be on a men's league pitching mound, let alone on the major league level with the New York Yankees. He should not, just shouldn't, he shouldn't be there. And Weaver, again, is somebody, if I don't see him on a mound for the Yankees in 26, I'll be happy. You got to really look at this bullpen. Like I said, Cruz had some bright spots. Bednar, you like what you saw from him. Do you trust Williams? Do you even, again, he's up for free agency. Do you even entertain him again? I mean, hell, we had to change the beard policy for him. But do you just let him walk? Is he better as a small market guy? Maybe he is. Hell, maybe he can go to a club like Pittsburgh and he can perform, or Minnesota, or he could go somewhere where he performs. He seems like a nice enough kid, but I just don't think New York is built for him. I also think that the Pete Alonso homer really fucked him up mentally in the head. I really do. I really do. Because again, there's not being able to play in New York, and then there's being very good, having the year you had last year in 24, and then just being literally Jekyll and Hyde and just being great and being dog shit awful. That just doesn't happen with, oh, I can't play in New York. Like there's something more to that. So I think that's got to be looked at. I think the front office, I think the way that the Yankees do things. I think everything has to change. I think the philosophy's all wrong. I think it's got to go. I think they need a fresh voice. And I know you're going to say, well, Chris, wait a second now. You just said that they won 94 games with a poorly constructed roster. How can you sit there and say that the front office and the coaching staff needs to be evaluated? Because again, yeah, you were able to squeeze out 94 wins. What if you don't get as lucky as you did next year? Because listen, this is not like the old days. Hot stove means jack dick shit in baseball when you're a Yankee fan these days. It's not like it was in 2000, 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not like that anymore. You look at the free agent list, and I could literally put all of my money down. Everything that I have. It's not a lot, but I can put down every single cent, down to the last cent that I have in the bank. And I can place it on a bet that the Yankees will not be all in on any of a big free agent for 2026 at all. The Yankees manage themselves like they're a small market team, and you can't do that. Not when you're sitting there trying to win. At least that's what you're putting out. If you're going to sit there and do a rebuild, by all means, get small marketing on me. I don't care what you do. But also, this is New York. This is the Yankees. And unless you have a plan where you have absolute stud, can't miss prospects, you know what? We're going to punt on free agency for about a year or two. We're going to call these kids up. We're going to grow them. Okay. I do not trust this coaching staff at all to develop anyone. I don't trust their scouting system. I don't trust their farm system. I don't trust a single scout, a single coach, a single talent evaluator on the Yankees that can make me feel confident as a fan. Okay, you know what? If I sit here and sit back and we have a couple of 86, 80 lost years, but we're developing talent, okay, I can live with that. How are you going to sell me that? You can't. You can't sell it to me. You just can't. I mean, I just don't understand. You go into the year. I mean, yeah, this team won 94 games, but again, you got to sit there and go, my God, Boone's a puppet. How did this team win 94? Was the American League that bad? Was the American League that bad? You got about three left-handed catchers. You got five DHs. I mean, this roster was not built. And I said this at the beginning of the year, where I sat there and I said, this could not even be a playoff team. I said maybe they'll win about 82, 83 games, but I don't think they're a playoff team. They exceeded. And then even when they started to get a little better, I said they don't have enough horses and they have too many holes to win deep into October. And I was right. It was pretty much it all pretty much came down the way that I said it. And I'll say this on Boone. Joe Torre went 7 seasons without a World Series after his last one before he was let go. Okay? Joe Girardi went 8 seasons after his last championship before he was let go. Aaron Boone has gone 8 years without a single World Series championship at all. So Torre, 7 seasons without a World Series, and he won four. He was let go. Girardi went 8 years after his World Championship in '09. He was let go. Boone has been here for 8 years, has not won one World Series. He has not won one. So I ask my Yankee fans this question here. And I'm not bashing everything about Boone, and I'm not blaming everything on him. As I said, there's a whole lot of blame to go around. It's not just Aaron Boone. But wouldn't it be reasonable to think that the Yankee organization has exhausted their time with him? Just listen here. There's plenty of cash from blaming. And again, I'm not blaming Boone for everything, but I just listed for you what they've done in the past. And I'm just wondering if this organization will consider that path because it would absolutely fit the narrative of the past. It's just a thought. So again, by that logic, should Boone be out? By that logic, it's interesting. It's interesting. Now again, we can sit here till the cows come home. We can list 100 reasons for their failure to win another championship. Fire Boone, fire Cashman, add more payroll, sign another couple of superstars. There's all those ideas out there. And there's no reason why with a couple of really good tweaks. I'm not saying a little small detail. There's no reason why with a couple of not minor, big major tweaks, this team can't compete for a championship again next season. Now, Boone said this was his most talented team. I think that's obviously a lie. But all right, say if they return Bellinger, okay? Say if they return Bellinger, a case could be made. They have the best overall outfield in the sport. Volpe was a mess. Jazz made his errors. Okay, he hits a little bit, runs like a demon. But Jazz is a guy that's all about himself. I really think that you have to sit there and reevaluate and go again. Think to yourself, if I'm going into 26 with a middle infield of Volpe and Jazz, one's hitting 220, the other one's hitting 230, with the errors they make, do I feel confident with winning a world championship? The answer again is going to be no. Now, yeah, you're going to add Cole, but like I said, and I said this last week on the show, and I'll say it again. Yes, Garrett Cole, you would bring Garrett Cole back, you come back from injury. There's no guarantee that Cole's going to be the same Garrett Cole or better than he was before the injury. There's no guarantee. And Freed, yeah, he won 19 games. But again, if you can't sit there and again, I love what he did against Boston in game one. But if you can't sit there 19 games, 20 games, 29 games, I don't care how many games you win in the regular season. If you're going to sit there and you can't get out of the third inning and you give up 7 hits and 7 runs against Toronto in the division series, I'm sorry. Are you that good? Are you that good? Gil walks too many guys. I love Schlittler. That's a piece that I love. Will if they go into 26 next year with Will Warren, I will burn a Yankee jersey on the air. Please get him out, do something. Trade him for a pack of Marlboros, trade him for some gasoline, do whatever you have to do. Get him out. The less I see of Will Warren next year, the better. Maybe I'll go to a couple more Yankee games. No, I saw someone go, well, can't we just say that they lost? I'm not disagreeing, and I'm not saying that they didn't lose to the better team. Toronto was the better team. Toronto was constructed better. Toronto's coached better. They have better pitching. They have a better overall lineup. They have better defense. I'm not sitting there and taking anything away from Toronto. What I'm saying is they did have a shot here. And my thing is, if they did end up winning last night, I say they win game five. This wasn't a series that, oh my God, they had zero shot to win. They had a shot, but they didn't run the bases well. They did not field. They did not hit when they had to. And they didn't coach well. And you factor all of those in, and you got what you got. You got the end result. Goldschmidt, who knows if he'll come back? Again, he's up there in age. I don't know if Goldie's someone that you want to bring back. He'll be another year older. I think you seriously got to evaluate Jazz and Volpe as your middle infield combo. Third base, you have to desperately look at. I love McMahon as a fielder, but you have to get some pop over there. But I do like his glove for defensive purposes, especially late in the game. The outfield, I think you're pretty set in the outfield. Although Grisham, like I said, I wouldn't lose sleep if Trent Grisham, he had a nice little year. Would not lose sleep if Grisham was off the team next year. I would not lose sleep. He's another one. Did not show up at all this division series. And catcher, like I said, not really a fan of Wells, but you're gonna put Rice there, you really can't. I saw someone say, "Oh, well, Florida, the Marlins were on to something. The Marlins were on to something when they said the Jazz was not a second baseman, and they moved Jazz to the outfield. Jazz is not an outfielder either. I think you really got to try and look for me at least second base. If you're gonna sit there and still say that Volpe, I don't know. I mean, can you put Bellinger at first? Like I said, I wouldn't have Rice catch over Wells. Again, there's going to be a lot of decisions to be made. But again, I say to you this, Yankee fans, how much is your owner willing to put in? How much is Prince Hal Steinbrenner willing to put in for a championship? How much does he really want to win? Or does he really care at all? I know what he does care about. In Hal Steinbrenner's world, as long as the chicken tender baskets are selling, business is good. And I'm sorry, as ownership of the New York Yankees, you have to be better. You have to be better. A lot of blame to go around. Schlittler did his part in the playoffs. Judge did his part. A plus, A plus. Everybody else, F. F. F plus. I can give it F plus. We'll preview the Giants and Eagles next. We're back after this.